Welcome to Backyard Cigars. In 2016-2017, Andre Farkas, the master blender and owner of Viaje cigars, went on a vacation to Hawaii, and he dreamed up an idea of putting out a cigar line by the name of PINA. PINA translating from Spanish to English, pineapple. And so in 2017, this cigar was actually released. So let's just say he went on vacation a few years before that, and it ended up being a collaboration by Andre Farkas and Ernesto Perez Carrillo. The cigars were made in the Dominican Republic, and they made their agreements in regards to distribution. It labeled the collaboration under the Viaje White Label series. And here we are in 2022. Late September, I was able to obtain a 5-pack, about $10, $11. It may have been even $12 for the price per stick on the eastern coast here. And the first re-release of this particular cigar, the Viaje Piña, is the first time we're seeing it in 5 years or so, right? So it is no longer listed, like I said, as a collaboration, but it is still being made at Ernesto Perez Carrillo's factory, La Alianza, in Dominican Republic, right? So it's being made there. The filler here is Nicaraguan. The binder is Ecuadorian. The wrapper is a Mexican San Andres. Now, this Vitola size nickname is the Wakana or the Wanaka, one of those two. And it's a Toro size, 6x52. Sweetness, some creaminess, a little espresso leather, but mild, and some pepper in the finish, but not a sharp pepper, not just yet. It's a cigar that Andre Farkas visualized, and I don't know, who blended the cigar exactly, whether it was Andre, I believe it's Andre Farkas of Viaje that blended the cigar, and it's being made by Ernesto Perez Carrillo. But I think the original release, there may have been a different setting to how the cigar was produced and distributed and so forth. Now, this cigar is being released on the Viaje, as I mentioned before. So the first thing that Andre Farkas was quoted as saying was, it will be different than the original release. It will be, because he says, because of crop vintages and so forth, and the difference in some of the tobaccos, he feels this is going to be a sweeter version. Definitely a little bit of leather and pepper towards this finish, and up front you're going to get a little bit of sweetness and some creaminess, which was a little bit more abundant within that first inch or so, because the cigar originally, I was setting up and it got dark on me, and I lit the cigar. I got it going because I've had this cigar before. I had it once before, a few days ago, and it was a 5-pack. I got it at the end of September, like I said, and it's been in the humidor for a few weeks at about 64, 65 RH, and so I wanted to wait. I normally wait a little longer than this. I just want to say that I normally wait a month or two, but we're coming towards the end of the season, and my days are numbered, so I have to kind of, decide what I'm gonna do with certain cigars, whether I'm gonna wait till next year or if I'm going to even attempt to smoke them. And this is a nice hearty wrapper. It's 64 degrees right now, so the weather's still very good, comfortable. And I'm setting up in the dark and I'm smoking the cigar, and then finally when the lights do go on, I realize that I have a huge canoe, and I'm like, oh no, say it ain't so. I mean, I know the first one that I smoked, I had to do 2 or 3 touch-ups, maybe 4, and I was a little bothered by that, but it was an overall pleasant experience. Won't get too much into that, like I said, because that wasn't a review. That was just personal enjoyment with friends and family, and it was okay. But now that I can hone in on it and focus on it a little bit more and tell you more about it, I can say that there weren't any major construction issues for me in that first cigar experience with the Viaje. This one, I thought to myself, oh no, I mean, made at Ernesto Perez Carrillo's factory, they have standards. Something like this should not happen. And then I realized, you know what, idiot, it's all your fault. Because you couldn't see the cigar in the dark, and because you weren't even looking at it, because you couldn't see it, you weren't doing the normal ritualistic things that you would do when you're smoking a cigar and enjoying it, whether for your personal entertainment or for a review. And that is, just turning the cigar and just looking at it, looking at the way the wrapper looks in any kind of light that I'm in, but looking at the wrapper, the smoothness. I'm also feeling it as I turn it, and I'm feeling the different textures that I'm getting off of the cigar. I'm getting, the rustic appeal of the cigar in this case, and I'm feeling some of the different intended imperfections of the roll. Or if this had been a very smooth nice sheen cigar, then it would be that, or the band, or whatever else I made. But the point is that I always talk about the importance, and this is when I talk about this, I'm usually talking to my friends and family who are into cigars, and I tell them that it's very important that even if you're in a smoking situation where you're conversing with friends and family and it's easy to forget the cigar in your hand, that it turn off is one thing, not the most desirable thing, but something that can be easily rectified with a light. But when you get a huge canoe and it really derails, and depending on what half of the cigar you're in, it could really derail the experience depending on how bad it is, right? And so how to avoid that mainly is basically just to rotate it in your hand and just keep an eye on it. Be aware of it. Don't completely ignore it because you're in a conversation. Because if you do, and you're not able to see the cigar because of lighting, then get some light, because I think it's important to see your cigar as you're smoking it. The further importance in it is just immersing yourself in the experience, right? And just becoming one with that as best as you can. Hard to do when you're with friends and family, but at the very least you mind the cigar so that it performs well and you don't have any issues with it. And this construction right now that I'm seeing is just amazing. This is a really nice ash on the cigar. And it's still drawing very well. Sometimes you get your ash out a certain point on certain cigars and you feel that it may be muffling the flavors and the draw, and such can be the case. But you do that at your own discretion when you feel that it's time to ash it. A lot of people ask me, I just tell them, it's touch and go sometimes. I don't have a hard set rule when I have to put down my ash. If I know that the particular cigar has been a little flaky and it's not going to hold its ash well, then I'm a little bit more attentive to that. If I know that the cigar holds its ash very well, or has been proving it so, I may go a little longer as long as the draw is not hampered. But it's all up to your discretion. We all have different opinions about it, and in different ways of going about it. Some people do like to leave that ash for as long as possible. And I've mentioned that in the history of cigars, there was a time during the, early 1900s or late 1800s, I believe, that people actually believed that if you let the ash fall too soon and you didn't hold on to it, that you were losing out on additional flavors. And of course, I don't know how to disprove that. Who knows how to disprove that, right? The point is that that was a belief. So men would routinely let their ash, their burn line and everything just, but maintain their cigar is really just supervising it, just checking it out, so to speak, just checking it out, just checking it out. Yeah, now it's creamy again, and a little bit of cedar. And just a good dose of pepper in that finish. Really nice. Restrained, I would say. The leather and the pepper. Restrained. So far, so good. Uh, the more I've been smoking the cigar, I've been remembering my initial experience with it a few days ago, and thinking to myself that it hasn't really been that different, despite my lack of memory in regards to everything that I was tasting at that time. I really don't think it's that much different than what I'm tasting and enjoying now. I mean, I think it's okay. It's not a wow me cigar. It's got good construction, decent aroma. I'm not blown away by the aroma either. It isn't like it's good. It's a decent aroma. This nothing special about it, but forget the aroma. Who cares? It tastes okay. It just it leaves me in that feeling where it's just a type of cigar that I would just smoke, probably not buy again. Smoke if someone gave it to me. Smoke whatever I had left of it. As a matter of fact, what I have left of it, the 3 cigars, are probably going to be left to age for another year. Then go back to them and see if that aging was able to not make it better necessarily, just make it different, and see what happens. And it's just like a little odd experiment, because there's no reason for me to really do that. There's nothing beyond the rainbow that's gonna turn the cigar from an average cigar into a spectacular cigar. That's not what I'm expecting, nor should you. It's just something you do when I don't see myself smoking that for a while, so let me just lay it down and let it gather some age, and I'll come back to it and see if it had any effect whatsoever. But and that could be sort of a surprise. It's like, oh, it's got a different flavor to it slightly, or it's got a new element. A number of things could happen, or nothing, really, honestly. Yeah, now I'm feeling that pepper creeping in the finish a little bit more, and it's starting to, sting the tongue just a little bit, and it's all right. But it's annoying when it's like kind of like vibrating on the tongue instead of just give me the pepper already. Damn it. Okay, just final thoughts on the cigar. Decent cigar, decent aroma, good draw, good construction, very good construction. Flavor-wise, I thought it was okay. Flavor-wise, I thought it brought forward hints of cedar, leather espresso in the finish, combined with a subtle pepper that intensified just a little bit as you got into that final third. And then as you head into that final third, you will see that increase in that black pepper, especially in the finish. The leather will protrude just a bit more. There was creaminess and sweetness throughout the first stages, the first and second third of the cigar, a lot less of it in the final third. It's like a dark fruit note as well that I'm getting. I'm trying to think of which one. Really can't. But it's not off-putting. It's a decent cigar. I do remember that when I was approaching just a little bit before the band, and it was in the same place, they all remained very sturdy, very steady on the cigar, that it got really bitter. And I remember that as I was approaching this part of the cigar, I slowed down because I was in conversation, so I could afford to. I could afford to just, and watch it from time to time and let it slow down so that it wouldn't overheat, because I felt that bitterness creeping up, and I feel it now. And when it got to that point, I just couldn't smoke it anymore. I tried, didn't taste too good, so I put it down. Some cigars are nubbable, some are not. And this one, I didn't find to be very nubbable, even close to it. It was also at this point in the cigar where I started to have to do a lot of touch-ups. Like I said, 3 or 4. So far, I've done 3 in this very short period of time. And I'm probably going to take another 2 or 3 puffs of it and then put it down, because I think that at this point it becomes for me too bitter, and the finish is just not super harsh, but not really pleasing. So I just want to thank you all for watching. Till next time on Backyard Cigars.